Well, good day, everyone, and welcome back to the K1 Growth Series. I'm Sam Womani. I'm your moderator for today's channel and Alliance Leadership session. Our topic today is that comes up in nearly every global growth conversation, partnering with APAC, EMEA, and North America frameworks for scalable growth. As companies expand beyond their home markets, partnerships quickly become the fastest and most often the only viable way to scale. But what works in one geography rarely works the same way in another. Recruiting partners in North America look very different from APAC. Enablement, in EMEA carries different expectations. Cadences and incentives, cultural norms, and even definitions of success change by region. What we see consistently at K1 Consulting is that organizations expand with strong intent, but without a repeatable global framework. The result is fragmented partner programs, inconsistent performance, and local teams forced to reinvent the wheel market by market. Now, today's session is about avoiding that trap. It's about how to recruit the right partners in new regions, how to build and support partnership teams without overinvesting too early, and how to manage international partner ecosystems in a way that balances global consistency with local relevance. I'm joined by Andrew Ranson, Managing Director of K1 Channel Consulting, who has spent more than 2 decades designing and scaling partner ecosystems across APAC, EMEA, and North America. Andrew has helped organizations move from opportunistic regional expansion to structured, scalable global growth without losing focus or control. We'll also have a special guest who will be joining us here shortly, Leo Crow from Souk, powered by K1 Channel Consulting, who's going to take you through a demonstration on how to recruit business partners in new international markets. Over the next 25 minutes, we'll walk you through 5 challenges that consistently limit international channel success, from recruiting and resourcing to governance, expectations, building a truly global playbook that adopts locally. And Andy, it's great to have you with us. Okay, well, hopefully
nice to see you, Sam, as always. Thank you.
Great, and hopefully we'll see Leo here shortly. Let's start with the first challenge that most leaders face when entering new regions: how recruiting partners changes once you cross borders, and what companies often underestimate in the process. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, what choices do senior executives need to make when investing in direct sales teams or investing in partnerships to stimulate business growth in new markets?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at sort of new international markets, some of the questions senior executives will have will be, look, how much knowledge do they have of that local market? You know, have they done business in that market before? And also, if you're looking at the direct sales force versus partnership question, if you're hiring a salesperson, and do you want to do that from the local market? Do you want to put that responsibility on someone remotely? If you're actually hiring someone locally, do they have the marketing or localized marketing support? Around partnerships, it'll be like, have we done partnerships in other international markets successfully? How mature is our partnerships program? Do we need to then work with partners in that local market who has experience? And can we piggyback on that partner? So different questions that executives really need to make and to consider before they're going into a new market.
I see. What are some of the primary benefits of forming international partnerships?
Yeah, if you look at some of the key benefits, if you look at sort of an international partner and the right international partner, they will often have brand credibility. They will be trusted in that local market. They'll have established networks, often for decades, and they'll have customers that are respected and that trust that partner. So if you work with an international partner, you can effectively piggyback on their brand trust. You can piggyback on their credibility, which is actually incredibly important and incredibly powerful, right? Especially if you don't know that local market and the cultures. The other real upside is that if that partner trusts you and the motivations are well aligned, right? you'll be able to then get endorsed to customers, right? You can go to market together, and you can fast track your GTM motions.
Wonderful. We're just being joined now by Leo. Hey, Leo.
Hey guys, so
Leo.
sorry I'm a bit late. Run over on a call there, but
No
hopefully I
worries.
didn't miss too much.
Welcome. We're live here, so thanks for joining. Next question for you, Andy, is what are some of the common mistakes companies make when entering a new region?
Yeah, I think some of the common mistakes is that they can tend to not do enough planning, right? So if you go into a new region, new international market, they may just effectively hire salesperson or start recruiting partners and not have a clear thought out plan. Sometimes the expectations of getting results is rushed and quick as well. So I think if you look at from a logical perspective, you need a plan, right? You need to look at how are you supporting the resources? If it's your direct salespeople that you're hiring, if it's partners, is your partnership program up to scratch, right? Can you compete with other competitors that may be in that same market, right? Can you actually recruit the partners within that market? And do you understand the drivers and motivations of that partner? Often it'll be quite ad hoc, or it'll be like a lot of expected results, or again, and that's often, it could be a bit of nervous energy, or it could be sort of like, well, we're investing in this, we need to get a return. So some of those are some of the common mistakes.
Right, yeah. So how can you quickly modernize your partnership model so you can engage confidently with business partners in new international markets?
Yeah, I try to simplify this now. So if you break this down, is that you may have in the top 5 partners that you'd want to then start to recruit and engage with. The question you need to ask is that, do you understand the drivers and motivations of that partner and why they're going to work with you and how they're going to sell? If you understand those questions, right, you can build a partnership program around that. Now, there could be different partnership types. They could be different ways of going to market, but it's looking at how you're going to motivate the partner and how you're going to align with your company, number one. Number two then is how are you going to then recruit, onboard, and manage, and then sell with that partner? If you understand those two pieces, you can build your partnership program around that and be successful.
So what are some of the best practices you can put in place so that management of partnerships are professional and will provide results?
Some of the actual best practices is have very clear partnership types, explain your partnership program and articulate that very, very clearly to your partner. Again, understand the drivers and motivations, present your partnership program very professionally. One of the key elements is around you needing to have your internal resources well set up. So partner manager, partner marketing, or partner sales on the commercial execution. So these 3 sort of components are really, really important from a resource and alignment perspective. And of course, if you're going into new markets, you need to find those partners. And we're lucky here, we've got Leo here today who's going to show us how to do that. But these are some of the best practices that you need. And then you need to think that your competitors will have this. Okay, so those are some examples.
Well, in the early phases of international expansion, how do you evaluate budget, risk, and ROI when choosing between fractional partnership, expertise, and full-time hires?
Yeah, it's I think if you look at fractional versus full-time, you can often look at this between the stage that you're at. So if you're quite a sort of maybe an early stage partnership model, and you need to build a lot of your partnership program from scratch, you're needing to get a very good understanding of that international market. You want to coach your team, or again, you want to recruit partners or enable those partners. But if you fractional organizations will have up to 6 to 8 resources that they can pull in, and they're actually very well versed at building those systems and solutions. That's something that we do. The other part is that these resources aren't often full time, so you can get a big bang for your buck, if you like, if you're investing in that type of play. Full-time resources, if your partnership program is more mature, those full-time resources can come in into established roles, right? And that's kind of where there could be additional benefit. But I see more now as the combination of fractional and full-time is a sort of a good combination.
So Haki, can you explain some of the other fee benefits of partnering, which perhaps is more strategic in nature?
Yeah, some strategic elements will be, say, for example, if you're engaging partners in local markets and you want to get into government, for example, that could be quite strategic. You could have, how would you say, work with partners that have larger ecosystems, right? So you want to effectively get into larger ecosystems with that partner. You could have integration type partnerships or implementation. So there's lots of different strategic elements to partners. You could be combining your value propositions, co-selling together. So lots of different, I guess, ways that you can strategically part together.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, Leo Crow, Partnerships Recruitment Director, is going to take you through a demonstration on how you can recruit business partners in new international markets. Leo, do you have something you're going to be showing, or is this how are you going to be presenting?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give a bit of an introduction, then I can share my screen. So,
Okay.
a bit about myself, founder and CEO of Souk. We help companies find partnerships using AI that drive revenue. And my background, I was at Deal, the HR tech business, and I joined as their first partnerships hire in the UK. So launched their UK and Ireland partner program. And for people who don't know Deal, they were the fastest company to hit 100 million in ARR. Now there's a lot of AI companies that have overtaken that, but at the time, fastest growing company in the world. And being the first on the ground to set up their UK partnerships, you would think a big business being Series D at the time, would be able to launch pretty quickly, right? Big business, thousands of people. It's a new motion in a hot geography. You'd think it'd be relatively easy. But I joined and we had about 11 partners. So it doesn't really matter the size of your business. When you go into a new market, it's day one again. I guess what you do have though is a bit of kind of brand backing behind you. I think it's important to mention, especially on the topic of international expansion, because as you expand to new markets, if your service is picking off quite well in one market, there's probably a good chance that if you've identified the market properly, scoped it out, and you're going to launch there, that it will do well there. But it means that there's probably a lot of potential partners who've had requests for your sort of software and your sort of services that are great fits and just kind of waiting to be acquired. And so we started Souk because I'd spend half my time looking for new partners. And that was kind of the average life of a partnership manager, speaking to hundreds of partnership managers, spending half their day. Imagine that, half your day on Google, on LinkedIn, on Sales Nav, on all these kind of tools designed to find buyers and not collaborators. So we started Souk with that real sole intention in mind of how do we make it unbelievably easy to find the best quality partners. And I won't go through like the whole kind of spiel and demo and stuff, but I think it's just interesting the way that we're using AI and our customers like Deal, Vanta, Google are using Souk today to find those high quality partners. So I'll share my screen once I